One of Robert Houdin's great inventions is the light and heavy chest. It was a chest that a kid could lift quite easily, but a strong man, when he tried to lift it, couldn't lift it. In The Illusionist, they took that idea, that same idea. I'm going to reveal the method of the light and heavy chest. Hey GQ, it's David Copperfield. This is The Breakdown. First up, Now You See Me.
Bon chance. It's 11:50 p.m. here in Vegas. That's 8:50 a.m. in Paris. Your bank opens in less than 10 minutes. 1, 2,
3.
A number of years ago, a screenwriter named Ed Reichert came to my show. And we did the show in the round, which was very unusual, hasn't been done before. And we did an illusion, also quite unique, where we would vanish, me and a specter would vanish from the theater and reappear in a location in Hawaii. It was pretty amazing and groundbreaking, and it's what inspired the whole Now You See Me series.
I like that little French guy. Where'd he go? Wait, there he is.
Teleporting around the world wasn't ever done in the magic show, and they saw it as an opportunity to use it in a movie. The magic wasn't just card tricks or whatever. It was something that could be done as a whole basis of real drama.
Side of your helmet, you should feel a button. Now, don't press it just yet. Now that button activates an air duct that connects Paris to Las Vegas. Okay, good. Now you can press it.
All right, now empty and hold on tight. You might feel a bit of a vacuum.
In our version, I brought the rain back with me into the theater in the round. In this version, probably a little bit more cool for the audience, the money comes back to the theater. You know, it's about credibility. When I did this illusion, and people thought it was ridiculous, nobody's going to believe it. People said it couldn't be done, not credible at all. And we spent 3 years interviewing audience members, changing bits little by little to make it a credible thing. And finally we got it so the people in the audience were crying. So when Ed Reichert saw that in the show, he saw a pretty good version of our thing and saw it could be credible. It was something you could do. It does feel credible in this film because they really are committed to it. And they did all the steps that we did, that we found we had to do to make it a credible thing. Having proof, having kind of a relationship between the monitor and the theater. And, yeah, I think it worked. Our version happened over the heads of the audience. It was surrounded in a circular theater. I wanted, people beneath the illusion itself. They had in the round, and I guess because they didn't have people below, they had the piece collapse up. So it was kind of avoiding the trapdoor idea. To me, magic isn't about making something disappear. It's about really having the audience feel emotionally attached to it. This is an example of that because this was about characters that you care about these people. I mean, these actors are amazing. Also, the people in the audience who are involved with this are people that you get to know and care about or have some kind of stakes in the matter. So it's not about the illusion. It's about the illusion plus caring about why it's happening. The prestige.
Because making something disappear isn't enough. You have to bring it back. That's why every magic trick has a third act. The hardest part. The part we call the prestige.
I love the poetry that Chris and his brother put into this movie. We don't use words in magic like the prestige or all the things he did, but I think it's kind of nice gravitas that he added. Many people say there's 7 pieces of magic, 7 effects, and it's 100% not true. I'm, with my amazing staff, invent new technology all the time. And I think in this case, what Christopher Nolan and his brother did, with all the electric currents, the Tesla coil effects, he created a new language in that way. That doesn't exist in any magic show in history. So I think he had the same kind of instinct as I do in my show now. You know, I'm doing magic with dinosaurs and spaceships and aliens and time travel. Nothing that you could find in a magic book. Most magicians, you know, unfortunately, kind of do things that have been done before, but a lot of the really great people who are trying to progress the art form in the past and also today are trying to change the language and move things in a new way. You know, they say in there that if you vanish something, you have to bring it back. In that case, a bird was vanished, and they had to make for the child the fear of something bad happening to the bird go away. I don't believe it's important to bring things back necessarily. I vanished an airplane once, and I didn't bring it back. And it was viral before viral existed. And it's because I didn't bring it back. It was kind of unsatisfying. The audience is going, well, what happened to it? If I brought it back, it would have closed the circle. I don't agree with that idea that you have to bring it back. Now you see me too.
雙手，俾我睇你個手，擰轉身，伸你個手出嚟。 冇喐嚟喐去，認真身 ，OK， 擺開身㗎。
My executive producer, Chris Kenner, started a whole trend of juggling cards in a beautiful way, and it was called cardistry. This sequence is based on that entire idea. Andre Geek, who took that idea and took it to another level, helped design the sequence, which is pretty interesting. All these moves are based on real moves, real things you can do. Everything you're seeing here really could be done. It would be kind of hard to do it all in that sequence, but they are all possible to do. They helped a little bit with a little bit of camera technique to get it to work perfectly each time, but all very risky moves that could actually be really happening. This whole throwing of cards started a whole trend, YouTube videos of people trying to do card throwing where they land in specific spots. We did 200 takes to get this one shot. In movies, you know, we all do many, many takes of scenes as actors. In this case, this is a lot of things put together. John Chu, who is a wonderful director of this film. His background is in dance and choreographing beautiful sequences. So the combination of cardistry and John Chu's direction comes together quite nicely here. This is very advanced sleight of hand. To make that all work in a real world situation, it would be very risky to do. I was once held up at gunpoint, and I stupidly did what is in magic called a pocket dodge. I showed my pockets empty even though my passport's never there in the pocket. That's a real world situation I did, but in fact I think in retrospect it's pretty stupid to do. And here they're on a movie set, so it's okay. All these little details are based on real things, and that's what's really rewarding for me. All the sleight of hand moments are really based on real palming, back palming, sleeve manipulation, techniques of elastic. All that's real stuff, you know, and they put it into a kind of a nice sequence, I think. My friend Levent Simkentley vanishes a jumbo card on stage with that exact method. On the back of the card is a pattern of his jacket, and he just vanishes it, and it really looks great. And then as a gag, he kind of reveals it and shows what happens. So it's okay for me to say the story, but it's a really great thing, and it does work. There's a magnet in the jacket, and it sticks to it. And when my friend does it, the card vanishes, and it looks fantastic, and then it's really magnetized to his coat. The famous magicians of the past used to scale cards into the audience, take cards with their picture on it, and throw them in the audience, and hit certain marks in the theater, amazingly. It was a great skill, and this is taking that to another level. It's using it for a real purpose. They would skip cards off the ground like a rock in a lake, and all this is based on that.
Hey! My eyes are up here, man. How do you like it?
And it's also pickpocket technique, where you're managing people to move a certain way. You can pick their pocket here, you can touch them there, they're going to look this way, you can steal their watch. It's that kind of technique, all combined in this piece. The Illusionist.
Might I borrow a handkerchief from someone? You, madam. Thank you.
Using audiences' personal artifacts has always been part of magic. Even the street performer would use things from the audience. I think it makes the audience feel they're part of it and involved. Also makes it more impossible when you're using one of their objects. In the real version of this, it was a ring and a handkerchief that would vanish and reappear.
Time. From the moment we enter this life, we are in the flow of it. We measure it and we mark it. We cannot defy it. We cannot even speed it up or slow it down.
They did something really nice here. In magic, you know, there's manipulation of all kinds. Cigarette manipulation, which is a no-go right now, but that was a thing, you know, manipulation of coins and cards, and billiard balls. Billiard balls would appear between your fingers, all that. And I think in the Illusionist, they did something kind of cool to make the oranges small enough to do actual billiard ball moves. I think that was a really good idea. When the orange goes up or goes in slow motion, we can do that. They did it with special effects, but as long as it can be done, it has a lot of credibility for me. Ed Norton's character really was a wonderful magician. A lot of skill. I know Ed Norton worked very, very hard in his technique. One of the illusions he did was the orange tree, which is based on something I have, actually. I have the original one, created by Robert Houdin in the 1840s. It was the big rage of the time. Real oranges would appear. They would be tossed out into the audience. They were real oranges. People would freak out. In this movie, it's done in a very, very high level. It didn't work quite like that in reality. In the original Houdin version, the leaves would already be there, and the oranges and the orange blossoms would grow slowly. But this is starting from the very beginning, where it's kind of a combination of a growing orange tree and a blooming orange tree. They really combined two different effects, which are all legit, to make it happen. Robert Houdin was a clockmaker and an automaton maker. So basically the orange tree was an automaton. Mechanical leaves would reveal oranges. Like an automaton, the flowers would appear, and automaton-like butterflies would allow the butterflies to fly from behind the bush and reveal the handkerchief and ring.
Might I see it?
One of Robert Houdin's great inventions is the light and heavy chest. It was a chest that a kid could lift quite easily. But a strong man, when he tried to lift it, couldn't lift it. That illusion, in the story goes, it stopped a war in France. We're dealing with a group called the Marabonts. The French sent in their most powerful wizard, Robert Houdin, showed the French magic was stronger than this faction that was going to go to war with the French. So this one box, this one illusion helped solve a war, as the story goes. In the Illusionist, they took that idea, that same idea. I'm going to reveal the method of the light and heavy chest. Back then, people didn't know about electromagnetism. Turning power on and off to make a box electromagnetically stick to the ground was a whole new thing. And in this case, they're kind of replicating that same idea. To make it stand up straight like that wouldn't work quite with that technique, but they combined that to make this kind of a credible challenge. And I think it works pretty well. The Great Magician. Pretty cool stuff. I really enjoy the sleight of hand. I think he could have just done this little origami thing and left it like it is. I've never seen that before. I love that idea. I'm a new dog lover, so this is kind of cool. And that could work. You know, it wouldn't look exactly like that, but that really could work.
I'm the first wife. I want something better than them.
His technique is really nice. His movements is really beautiful. All the magic isn't real. A lot of it's not really happening, but it kind of could. It follows that rule that, if it could be done, could you do that? And the answer is yes. You could make that happen. And besides, these women are very happy. This is kind of like street magic in an elegant setting, let's put it that way.
I can't tell.
What I like about it is they didn't just take the easy way out, like Bewitched, which I love, by the way, where they would just blank out, the thing would just disappear, boom. They took the time to do technique where it was credible. Maybe it did happen. Maybe the sleight of hand could have existed. So they went the extra mile to make that happen. This is a real effect that my friend Channing Pollock did, a version of this. It looks a little bit different, but the production of a glass is normally a wine glass filled with wine, but he does it, where it's about jewelry for the women.
As you all know, a magician is nothing without his
That's
props.
funny. He says, a magician is nothing without props. Well, he just did a whole bunch of sleight of hand, so that makes no sense at all.
Take it.
Vanishing bullets would be sleight of hand. Couldn't work exactly like this, but it could work for sure. They are replicating all sleight of hand. That confetti couldn't come from the gun, obviously. It was borrowed gun, so it would have to come from somewhere else in his person, and you could do it. It's pretty risky pointing a gun at some mustached dude. There's nothing in here that couldn't be done. It wouldn't look exactly the same, but my favorite thing is the dog bone for sure. I think that feels really new. The incredible Burt Wonderstone. In Burt Wonderstone, our team created a sequence for the movie that the actors could feel really proud to do because there's no cuts. Nothing changes. And they worked really hard, and when we got the take, everyone was really happy. So this piece, you can watch over and over again. You can slow motion it, you can look at every frame, and from right here, there's no cuts. He covers himself up. Watch the other hand. It's not going to cut away. Focus on that hand for a second. Keep your eye on that hand. He gets covered, puts his head underneath the thing, the hand's still showing. See his form still there. No cuts. All brightly lit. The background's brightly lit. There's no darkness. There's no black area behind. You see everything around it. One shot, it's a big crane, techno crane shot that can show that. One of the joys is to put magic in a film that could really happen, and really does happen for real, in camera. Arrested Development.
Once there was a yacht! Now there is not!
I used to dance a lot in my show with fluffy shirts and gigantic movements and large objects. We actually made a boat appear in the Bermuda Triangle. He makes it vanish, in this case, with a little bit of dancing. Definitely, I think I'm to blame for this. I wish I could do the split, though. That was pretty good. There was a book when I was a kid, written by Al Jaffe, called The Mad Book of Magic. And it was all these, how to put your finger over here in 2 sections. Well, you'd cut your finger off. That was the method for it. It was just crazy methods that would really inflict major pain on yourself to make it happen. It's all a very big parody. This is an example of that. Will Arnett is great, and he does spectacular magic. His method was kind of like the Al Jaffe Book of Magic, where the method destroys the family's boat.
Michael? Magician never reveals his. I sunk it! I sunk the yacht! At least I think I sunk it. I mean, I blew it up and I don't see it anywhere.
It's a method. Probably could have worked. And finally, Houdini.
This was the big time. The stunt that would finally put me over the top. Let me try it.
Now? Boss, you just performed 3 shows. You're B. Tomorrow, I'll get the boys. We'll set it up.
Right now.
All right.
One would never do something for the first time. You're always going to really have planned what your escape route is, how to get out of the situation. So Adrian Brody went to Tannen's magic camp. He loved magic as a kid and really studied it. So it's kind of fitting that he got this part. Besides, he's just kind of a genius actor.
Something's wrong.
Whoa, pull him up!
Hurry up, get him out!
Lift him up!
Hurry up!
It's stuck!
Hey! Pull him up!
Harry Houdini discovered that escaping from things really captivated audience's interest. You know, he started with handcuffs and kind of upped the game. Straitjacket escape, underwater escapes. He found that had a connection with people. People got that. And the idea of having near death as your adversary was one that people could really understand and relate to. I've done a lot of escapes from an imploding building. I did a water tank escape. I got hurt in the water tank escape. There is danger to it. In Houdini's day, everything happened behind a curtain, except for a straitjacket escape, which you could show people. Everything else was hidden behind things. And in those days, you can get away with that. People would sit patiently for an hour watching a red curtain and not knowing what's happening behind. Today, they'd walk out, you know. But in those days, you could do that. This sequence is the water torture cell, which we have, Houdini's actual water torture cell, right here in this museum. So that's all very legit, you know. But when this is done, normally, once you're submerged in the tank, you'd be hidden from view. The audience would not see the process of escaping. And in today's world, you have to see the process. Luckily, in movies, you get to see the process. Now, this is a failure situation, which never happened to Houdini. Glass never broke. They never had to break the glass to get Houdini out. All the historians will tell you that that happened in the Tony Curtis movie, in this movie, but it never took place. There's another way to get out, way easier way to get out if you had to be in this trouble. They just hoist him out of there. Historically not accurate, but looks pretty good. Thank you so much for watching all those clips with me. Hope you learned something. Till next time.